Most videos about the best places to live in Europe repeat the same countries: Portugal, France, Spain, or Germany. But what if I told you those are actually some of the most overrated countries in Europe to live in right now? And what if I told you there are some much nicer, cheaper, safer, or easier places to live in? I've been to over 35 European countries and lived in a few myself. And let me share with you a little secret. The best places to live on the old continent don't get constant hype. And perhaps that's for the better. In this video, I'll show you 5 underrated countries that offer better quality of life without crowds of expats. If you're after a true high-quality, low-stress European lifestyle, these are your best picks today. Estonia. Peaceful and prosperous Scandinavian living at almost half the price? Head to Tallinn, a picturesque, quiet capital of the Baltic nation of Estonia. When I first arrived here while traveling through the Baltics, it didn't feel like a country that only regained independence in 1991. It felt more like a utopian Nordic state. You find 24/7 vending machines selling fresh berries in the countryside, creative modern buildings all over Tallinn, a tiny, tranquil old town that isn't overcrowded with tourists. Beyond the cities, Estonia is made of forests. More than half of the country is covered in them. These are closer to raw Scandinavian wilderness than the carefully manicured parks you find elsewhere in Europe. Walk a quiet trail through the bogs, barefoot on mossy ground, and it feels a little like stepping into a fairy tale. The coastlines are calm and soul-comforting, often completely empty, and day-to-day life just works. The infrastructure is reliable, almost everyone speaks English, and the country embraces technology at every step. Estonia even invented the world's first e-residency, letting anyone, anywhere, start a European business and access other services entirely online. Safety is another big plus. Compared to Southern Europe, Estonia is far safer, consistently ranking in the world's top 15. You'll worry more about bumping into an elk than a criminal. Think of Estonia as blending Nordic efficiency with Baltic simplicity. It's not as glamorous as the busy streets of Stockholm, but if you're after a minimalist lifestyle, that's exactly the point. Estonia is a country where modern digital life meets fairy tale forests. You can walk barefoot through mossy bogs in the morning, file your taxes online in 5 minutes in the afternoon, and enjoy a spectacular sunset over the rugged coast in the evening. For anyone looking for calm, affordability, and livability, Estonia might be the most underrated choice of all. And we're only getting started, with 4 more alternatives that may fit your needs better. Czechia. If Estonia is the alternative to the Nordics, then Czechia is the alternative to Germany. Right in the heart of Central Europe, it's safer, cheaper, and built on a strong industrial base with orderly cities and a proud beer culture. Just like its car brand Škoda, Czechia is for people who want things to work well without needless hype. Sure, you won't find German-level salaries here, but you also won't find German prices. On average, life is about 30% more affordable and the quality doesn't suffer. Safety is another plus. Czechia usually ranks among the top 30 safest countries in the world, while Germany lags behind in the 50s. Base yourself in Prague and you're only a few hours from Berlin, Dresden, Munich, or Vienna. Prague itself is surprisingly international, with English widely spoken and a steady flow of visitors from around the globe. Even in peak tourist season, I found Prague calm once I stepped outside the main hotspots. It doesn't feel as rushed as fast-paced Warsaw, nor as drowsy as Tallinn. It's just right for people who enjoy big cities but don't want constant overstimulation. And Czechia is far more than Prague. Cities like Brno or Ostrava offer plenty at even lower prices, and the countryside is dotted with castles, vineyards, and mountain trails, which are still overlooked by most tourists and expats rushing to its more famous neighbors.
Czechia delivers much of what people love about Germany: safety, order, and central location, but in a calmer, cheaper, and more livable package. Not into calm high-tech Estonia or practical Czechia? Don't worry, there are 3 more choices ahead, each catering to a different type of expat.
Slovakia. Nobody talks about Slovakia, yet I've never met a person who wasn't pleasantly surprised after visiting. Is it home to big international cities? Not really. Does it have a globally renowned culture everyone's heard of? Not really. Is it the darling of travel influencers? Definitely not. And that's exactly what makes it underrated. Slovakia isn't an alternative to a more popular country. It's a choice for people who want the peaceful, safe life in a place few others even think of. If you prefer city living, Bratislava puts you just an hour from Vienna and 2 from Budapest. But the city itself offers everything you need without the high price tag of its Austrian neighbor. When I visited Bratislava, I was struck by how clean and green it felt, with just the right mix of classic architecture and modern development. For quick escapes, the capital is surrounded by forests, all well connected to the city. And if you want rugged mountains, they're only a couple hours away. The Low and High Tatras are among the most stunning ranges in Europe. They're like the Alps, but without the tourist crowds. Slovakia isn't flashy, and that's exactly why it works as an underrated destination for high quality of life. It rewards those who look deeper, offering safety, affordability, and natural beauty that remain some of Europe's best-kept secrets. And speaking of natural beauty, if that's your top priority, you'll love the next country on the list.
Finland. It's no secret that the Nordic countries offer world-class quality of life, but whenever they're mentioned, Finland is usually an afterthought, with Norway, Sweden, and Denmark stealing the spotlight. And yet, you know where this is going. Finland is the underrated alternative that gives you everything you'd expect from the Nordics, and at a lower price. It's about 30% cheaper than Norway, and at least 10 to 15% cheaper than Sweden or Denmark. I still remember paying for parking in Oslo and wanting to cry. For the same price as a few hours of parking there, you could rent a basic tourist cabin in Finland. And in Helsinki, parking won't make you shed any tears. But focusing only on prices sells Finland short. Where it truly shines is in its wild, accessible nature. And it doesn't even matter where you live. From Helsinki, I reached a vast national park in just 30 minutes. Even trails outside the protected areas felt like stepping into a national park. Each natural area is beautifully prepared for visitors. There are thousands of marked trails, shelters, huts, and campsites. And if you prefer solitude, Finland's Everyman's Right lets you set up camp almost anywhere you want. Before visiting, I had high expectations, usually a recipe for disappointment. But Finland surpassed them, especially in Lapland, where endless forests form vast uninhabited areas unlike almost anywhere else in Europe. No, Finland doesn't have the dramatic mountains of Norway, but its quiet forests, countless lakes, and mighty rivers more than make up for it. And daily life is just as appealing. Finland consistently ranks among the top 25 safest countries in the world. It's also one of the least corrupt, with a transparent and equal society where trust is part of daily life. English proficiency is outstanding. It almost feels like a second language. And of course, there are the saunas. Finland has more saunas than cars, and it really is true that almost every home or apartment building has one. If you want the calm, outdoorsy Nordic lifestyle, Finland is the underrated choice, without the high price tag of its famous neighbors. But what if you want to live in a larger, more populous country? That brings us to our final underrated option: Poland. Still far from a mainstream choice, Poland is slowly starting to appear on lists of countries with excellent quality of life. Most expats head to Poland's biggest cities: fast-paced Warsaw, cultural capital Krakow, or highly livable mid-sized cities like student-friendly Wrocław or the maritime Tri-City. In all of these, The language barrier isn't much of a problem among younger generations and professionals. What makes Poland underrated is its unique mix. An affordable lifestyle up to 50% cheaper than in neighboring Germany. Rich history, impressive architecture, world-class safety ranking in the global top 30, and a geography that stretches from the Baltic Sea in the north to the Tatra Mountains in the south.
The capital, Warsaw, has one of the most impressive skylines in Europe. It's home to countless multinational corporations and international organizations, but also edgy vegan restaurants, cozy neighborhood cafes, and quiet green parks. Poland isn't just about cities. It offers endless beaches along the Baltic coast, the Masurian Lake District, the Białowieża Forest, one of Europe's last primeval forests with wild bison, and the alpine-style Tatra Mountains in the south. I was born in Poland and have seen the country's evolution with my own eyes. My friends and I have no doubt, Poland is in its golden era right now. Expats are more than welcome to contribute to this meteoric growth, hopefully long into the future. If you want to move to an underrated European country while still having access to a large, dynamic economy, Poland is the best choice. While many Western European economies have stagnated, Poland has been growing at a pace almost unheard of in the region. Modern, ambitious, and hungry for more, Poland is one of the most underrated places to build a life in Europe today. Which underrated country would you move to? Drop it in the comments. And if you want more videos on the geography of happiness and life abroad, make sure to subscribe. There's a lot more coming.